Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we are taking a look at this is Transformers Deluxe Class Deep Cover. Now, for those of you who are playing along at home, the When Will Chuck Finally Lose His Mind? No, I did not forget we already reviewed Deep Cover. This is the War for Cybertron, a Netflix series Walmart exclusive Deep Cover. I got this figure off of eBay. They are showing up in Walmart retail stores now and can be pre-ordered online from walmart.com to come at a later point in time. I unfortunately can't do any of that since I live in a city that's union controlled and have basically barred Walmart for life. Few things to note. This is hopefully the last use of the Siege Sideswipe mold, as frankly I think we have enough of this mold right now. But with that being said, this is actually the tightest version of the mold I have handled, going all the way back to Siege Sideswipe through all the repaints, exclusive releases, even the Generation Selects deep cover. This is the tightest, to the point where this leg, right if for you, left in general, is so tight that it is actually I can't rotate it here at the mushroom peg by the hip, so it's a little bit at an angle. Now, I did transform this figure and it really doesn't affect transformation, and of course your mileage may vary in terms of the condition of the figure you might get. Now, one bit of disappointment I want to get out of the way is the fact that, as you can see, this version of Deep Cover does not come with the red alert gun that is basically, the handgun for Sideswipe. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, it only came with Tiger Tracks and the Generation Selects Deep Cover because those are exclusive releases and that you're paying a little more for. And I would normally agree with that, except for the fact that when we've gotten store exclusive releases such as the Siege and Earthrise versions of Blue Streak, they included all the accessories for the mold, the shoulder cannons as well as the handgun. So seeing as how this version of Deep Cover is a store exclusive to Walmart, I don't see why it couldn't have included the handgun. Speaking of which, since this is basically wave 3 of those War for Cybertron figures, and they're following along for the 3rd season of the Netflix show, they've transitioned to using the Kingdom style packaging, which means there's no plastic insert. Deep cover here is secured to the packaging using plastic ties, clothing ties, not the twist ties, and its accessories are actually behind the figure, underneath on the bottom of the packaging. So if you are someone who doesn't keep the packaging, make sure when you take out the tray, look behind the tray on the bottom to get the two-piece shoulder cannon here. Since we're starting off in robot mode, let's go ahead and bring in the Generation Selects deep cover. Now, a few things to note. A few people have said that they were inverting the colors of the two figures, and that's not accurate. Really, the only colors that match are the black of Deep Cover with the black hands, head, feet, and shins of the War for Cybertron Deep Cover. The shades of blue on the Generation Selects Deep Cover are much lighter and more purpley than the blue here on the War for Cybertron Deep Cover. And they, of course, has battle damage. And the gray here, well, this is actually gray. This is at more of a bone white. So yes, in terms of the coloring, it's not inverse, it's not flipped. It's just a completely different color palette. I gotta be honest, if they didn't have the battle damage here, I would really enjoy that shade of blue. But the battle damage really breaks it up. And comparing the two side by side, I think color-wise there's a lot more going on with the Generation Selects deep cover. So let's just move on from there, and we'll get into the transformation. This is something obviously we've seen several times before. Again, I want to mention the joints are very tight. This figure still holds up well, something that I am very happy about. Obviously, I've covered the transformation a few times on the channel. You want to flip up the chest, flip up that cod piece panel. Well, keep that panel up. You can go ahead and flip it down now into covering the face. Flip out the door panels, flip the arms in just like that. At this point, you can go ahead and bring the legs together. Actually, before you do that, flip up the panels here. They do peg in quite nicely, which is something I was impressed with. And then stick your finger in there or thumb, push up the knee panels. Then that will allow you to flip up the feet, rotate the figure around at the waist, fold this bad boy all the way around and over. Close up the panels here. Make sure they do peg in nicely. Peg the doors into the arms. And there you have War for Cybertron Selects Deep Cover. So, of course, now we're going to have to pause so I can transform Generation Selects Deep Cover. So he'll be joining us in just a moment. And here they are, side by side in vehicle mode. Let's go ahead and remove the weapons here so we can get a better look at the cars. You'll notice that Deep Cover has the fake Lamborghini markings, and whereas Generation Selects Deep Cover has the fake Lamborghini markings and some nice detail here on the lights. War for Cybertron Netflix Deep Cover has a darker windshield, and that's actually has some nice silver battle damage, like scraping it up, as well as some heavy scraping here on the front end. So even if you had that extra paint detail, it probably would be scuffed up, much like the Autobot symbol here. Other than that, the vehicles are the same. Wheels are painted the same. It rolls exactly the same. As I mentioned, there is a bit of an issue on the leg here. It doesn't affect the transformation. And I gotta say, like, this is a glossy black, this is a matte blue, and if it didn't have the battle damage, I'd actually like it as much, if not a little bit more, than Generation Selects Deep Cover. So with that being said, let me just make sure that's down further. I think, you know, as you can see, there might be a little bit of bowing here due to that like swivel, but other than that, that's really about it. I mean, it's the Sideswipe mold. If you've experienced the Sideswipe mold in one of its many incarnations, you know what to expect. So we'll pause and we'll be back with my final thoughts. Okay, so basically what this comes down to is if you don't have Generation Selects Deep Cover or any of the million other versions of Sideswipe, you might as well go ahead and pick this up. As I said at the beginning, I hope this is the end of the Siege Sideswipe mold. But with that being said, there's still Clampdown, which is, I think, supposed to be coming. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I really want to see that anymore because, well, we've gotten so many uses of this mold already. I have to tip my hat to Hasbro. Thankfully, they have been good in keeping the mold usable. The joints are tight. Again, tightest version of the Sideswipe mold I've ever handled. But I think enough is enough. I mean, personally, I think I'm going to say it. I think store exclusives need to go away for a while. I think everybody needs to be on a level playing field and have the same opportunities to get the same figures. I know there's going to be people explaining about why store exclusives and supposed insiders explaining, well, you know, store exclusives are important and this, that, and the other thing. I get it. Believe me, I truly do get it. But I think, you know, sometimes you have to say enough is enough. And really, will Target give up carrying Transformers because they're not being given an exclusive? As I said in the beginning, this is a Walmart exclusive. I got it off of eBay. You can find them in stores now. That's actually how I got it, because people are buying them in stores and selling them online. You can pre-order it on Walmart.com, but I think the release date for that is much later in the summer. But yeah, I mean, it's a great mold. If there was less battle damage, I think I would, in the coloring, and it included the extra gun, I think I would have liked this better. But between the two, I'm going to stick with Generation Select's Deep Cover. That's overall a much nicer, better looking figure. That's a lot more, that I think is more complete, if that makes sense. So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, your likes, comments, and subscriptions communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel is one that should be exalted and held upon high. If you really want to make the ultimate sign of support, please consider joining my Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. Link in the description below, and maybe there'll be a card here in the corner. Since the last video I put up, YouTube has changed a little bit of how they upload videos and stuff like that, and I was having a problem setting up the card with the link in the description. I don't know what it is. I've tried reaching out to some other creators, because reaching out to YouTube would be rather useless. So you may not be seeing the card link anymore. So it's even more important to look in the description of this video and copy and paste the link for my Patreon. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tiers, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you, help me to help you, literally bring figures like this to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. As always, as I say, if you can't afford the $12 a year, $1 a month, that's perfectly fine. Watching the videos is support enough. With that being said, this is your old pal Chuck for War for Cybertron Netflix Deep Cover. We will see you next time.